this is just not gonna work. We're gonna have to move this cord back. I guess right here will do. I do not like this charger as a tripod. And also, nobody knows I'm going live. Didn't tell anybody to expect this. So we'll see if people actually show up. But while I'm waiting to see if people are gonna show up, I am going to make my dinner. I am hungry. Oh my gosh, there are people here. I didn't think anybody was gonna join because I waited way too late. Well, I didn't wait too late. I got very overheated today. It was not good. And then I took a nap and I was just sitting here and I was like, you know what? I need to eat my dinner that I ordered hours ago. I need to eat that. I was gonna sit down and maybe do some clay stuff. Maybe. Let's just go ahead and do the Wingin' It Wednesday live late, because I did post on Facebook that I think I got it posted on Facebook that I wasn't going to be able to make it. And then I tried, I was like halfway asleep. I made a live or a post on YouTube, just a text post on like the community tab saying that I wasn't going to be able to make it. And turns out I don't think it ever actually posted. So I'm just here to hang out for a little bit. Ellie has football tonight, and so I'm just waiting for him to get home. But I ordered salada for dinner and fell asleep. I'm gonna eat it. And if you don't like watching me eat on camera, I really don't care anymore. I am at the point where I don't care anymore. And I am convinced that Salada is the best, just like salad only place. Like, it is so good. And for the first time, I'm trying getting protein in my salads, like chicken. Normally I don't do that because I normally am just not the biggest fan of chicken in my salad. So let's see how their chicken is. Tastes like chicken. It's not bad. So I started a couple weeks ago a video on YouTube where I think I talked, Brittany, that's ranch, honey, in a live where I was talking about like cleaning up the garden, and I didn't know what to do with all the memorial things I was finding for like Lester and Jamie's animals. And I was talking about like how I want to clean them up and give it to them, and everybody's like, oh, you should probably ask them first, you know, see if they want them. And I did ask Jamie, and she did say she would love to have them, which is great. It makes me very excited. And I ended up getting busy with other stuff, and it was getting so hot that I was really just getting like major chores done, where this is more of like a side project for me. And so I was able yesterday, I got everything out of the regular garden, and I already cleaned that up. I've got cats that are pestering me. I got those cleaned up, and it was only like 3 or 4 of them. But yesterday, hey, that's fire. That is a candle. That is a candle, my friend. Let's not do that. And so yesterday I went into where the old memorial garden is, and of course it's overgrown in there. Very hard to like weed eat in there and all those things, but I went in there with some gloves and I got out everything that I could, and I was shocked to see how many memorial like items I found for so many, no ma'am, the animals that came before Ellie and I were here, and that they survived like through the floods. Like they made it through the big flood. Of course, a lot of them are like stones, so they're not heavy, but they're like not damaged. I think there were 3 stones. I filmed a video of it and I'll talk about it, But in my video, I was doing like a time lapse of me cleaning them with bleach and all that because, you know, if they did go through flood waters, you know, they need to be appropriately cleaned, just in my opinion. And so I was going through them and I was doing a time lapse cleaning them, excuse me. And I think there were 3 hand painted stones, which I was so sad that whatever the person had painted it with, it's obviously not their fault. They didn't anticipate that that would go through a flood. But I don't think they sealed it or whatever. And so it like washed a lot of the paint off and made it like unreadable. There's Sharpie marker like on the back of them, but even that I can like barely read. So that tells you just how icky those floodwaters were. But it was only out of like, I mean, they're all sitting outside like drying. Well, that was yesterday, but they're still outside because it was way too hot today to do anything with them today. Hey, orange, no. The only sprayer I have is this freeze. I'm gonna spray it in the air. Go. Yep, that worked. So they're all sitting outside. There's probably like, these big heavy stone ones. I think there's like 6 of them. And then there's some other little glass ones, and I cleaned them up as nice as I could get them. The ones that were like glass and stuff, they cleaned up really nice. I found some like blue crystal ones. And so I was really happy I was able to find all of those. I got out everything that I could that wasn't broken, because some of them were broken. You have to think, in the memorial garden there were like rocks and stones and stuff, and so I had to dig under stones to find some stuff. But I got them all cleaned up, and there were 3 that was like not legible, or the paint was like washed off. You couldn't even tell like what it was. It honestly just looked like a rock. So that made me a little bit sad. But I guess this starts like my journey with working through grief. And I wish I would have felt better to do this video earlier, where there would have been more people, because I feel like being very real and honest and vulnerable with this, I think other people could probably struggle with this too. Probably would have been better, but I know people can watch on the replay. I just have to start my journey with grief, because the whole reason I was like cleaning the memorial stuff was because I intend to finish cleaning out the memorial, or the garden, and then I'm gonna make that into my personal memorial garden. And I kind of stopped on it because I knew like the next step after cleaning was going to be where I start building my memorials for my animals. And then when I found out that, oh, there's another thing I can do before I get to that step, I was really excited to do it. Brittany, that's fire, honey. And that next step was just cleaning up the memorial statues that people had gifted Lester and Jamie. And I've just found that the grief just sits really heavy on me, and I'm really ready to work through it. I'm really eager to work through it. And so I really need to, I need to get out there and finish up that garden and start working towards that, because I don't like having the anger that comes from the grief in my heart. And I just want to make that a safe space where I can go and I can, not that I don't have a safe place where I can feel my emotions, but where I can make it an intent of like, this is where my memories of my babies are. These are where their memorials. I can be intentional with it. And so that said, I have something sitting next to me that it really hurts me. I haven't looked at this in a year about. And so if you don't want to be upset, you might click off, but it's nothing crazy. It's just, it's like, it's going to be my first, it's my first like memorial item per se that's going to go in the garden for an animal. And I've had this, and the other one, I can't find the other one right now because I hid it. It'll make sense once I show you what it is, but it is a memorial for Okie Dokie, that was actually sent to us by A&M. And I have one for Lulu as well, but I hid Lulu's because I knew when I got the package and it said Texas A&M on it, I knew what it was, and I didn't want to open it, and I didn't want to see it, so I hid it, and I can't find it. and I'm beating myself up right now for hiding it, but I was not in a good place when that happened. But this is something that when your animal passes, that Texas A&M does for you. And that's his hoof print. And it really hurts and it really stinks. Linda, I'm not trying to be rude, but isn't that disrespectful to dismantle the memorial garden, the animals that passed that ISS? Again, not trying to be rude. Yeah. So let me, I actually appreciate your question. Your question's coming at a really good time, so I can dry up the tears and not acknowledge this emotion, because I clearly do not like acknowledging it. So you have to think, there's the garden and then there's the memorial garden. And when I was cleaning out the garden, I found, of course, in the garden, there's the wind chime that on it, it's like a really sweet message, and it's in remembrance of Bam Bam and Mama Meg. And I love the wind chime, but it got me thinking. I was like, man, if this was my animal and somebody sent me, the remembrance of my animal, I used to not like the idea of these kind of things. I'm not gonna lie. But the way that I had been handling grief just wasn't working. And so I've come around to the idea of having these memorials, and it just, when I saw it, the wind chime, I was just like, if this was my animal, I would want the thing to remember them. And so I came on and I talked on a live about it, and I was going to surprise Lester and Jamie with it. But some of y'all raised that same question of, oh, but what about like some of the ones that like I can tell you, I found Roland's, if I'm thinking of two different places. No, Linda, I'm just trying to explain. You're not thinking anything. So the memorial garden, there are no animals buried there. It's very hard to bury animals in this area. So we're going to have to do a lot of backtracking to get where we go. Linda, I know you don't mean this in any mean way possible. I want to be very clear. So there's the regular garden, which is right next to our house. And then the memorial garden is, somebody's going to have to fill in a little bit for me, because this all happened before I came into the picture in 2020. And then when Ellie and I moved here in 2023, the memorial garden is essentially the area where, when an animal is passed and people have sent in like little remembrance things like this, Lester and Jamie put them there and kept it as a nice area as them to have remembrance for them. And I think that's really beautiful. Years past, I wasn't really like I said, like that really wasn't my thing. I just kind of tried to avoid it. Y'all know I avoid old pictures and videos of animals that have passed. I don't make memorial videos because it stings. So there's two of them. The memorial garden, I don't know how it was in the early days, but I know for sure now the memorial garden has a square space with a little tree that the flood ruined. It's out in the garden, or out in the, what is that pasture called? It's late at night. Gosh, my medicine's wearing off. The pond pasture. It's in the pond pasture. And I guess I didn't really realize for the longest time that stuff was out there. I thought it was all like in the regular garden, and I thought that Jamie had taken it because then Papa used our actual garden for a little bit before he got his raised beds. And so I thought all of that like remembrance stuff was in the regular garden. So when I went in there and I took out all the weeds and stuff, and when I took out all the weeds, I found, I think, a little pig statue, and it doesn't have any name on it, but I did find the pig statue. I think Shaylin Goldberg, I believe, she's not on, but I do believe she sent a disco ball, or was that Teresa? Somebody's name I see a lot sent the disco ball, and they asked me about it, and the disco ball's still there. There was like a thing for, I think it was Sookie, maybe. there was one for Maggie that said "Run, Maggie, run." And so there were like 4 or 5 for Petunia or Lola. And that's what y'all told me on the live when I talked to y'all about it. So when I was cleaning, I took those out and cleaned them up. And then I was just going to put them back in the garden. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, well, what do I want to do with the garden? Because I have no interest in planting anything. I do not have a green thumb. I don't like planting and all of that. I don't even care to plant flowers. I don't. So what can we do to continue using these raised beds? Because I have no intent of getting rid of the raised beds because somebody put their hard-earned time and effort into it. And also, what if in the future I do decide I want to grow something, or maybe my parents would like to grow and I can upkeep things for them. I don't know, whatever. So we're not going to get rid of the raised garden beds. And so I was like, what can I do with them? And I was like, that's when I started really confronting the whole grief journey thing. And like, I have a lot of anger. This has been since 2023 that getting in farm life, you start to realize animals are really fragile. And I was like, what am I going to do about this? Like, I have all this like pent up anger. I feel like it's holding me back in my walk with faith. I feel like some days it makes it really, really difficult for me. Hold on, I'm gonna check my phone battery real quick. It makes it really difficult for me, and I just feel like I'm holding myself back in a lot of areas by just being angry. And so that's when I got on the live and I was like, okay, what do y'all think? And of course there were other people that said the same thing of like, oh, but why would you move the memorials if they were the animals that belonged at I'm a Survivor? That's where they were. And I was immediately torn because it's very tough, because y'all will probably always know this place as I'm a Survivor Sanctuary. Lester and Jamie have worked very hard to show that I'm a Survivor Sanctuary isn't a place, isn't a property. It is, I don't even know how you would explain it. I kind of see it as like an entity, as like a community, a home almost, but not like a house home on this property, you know? And so almost like a mission almost. I'm a Survivor Sanctuary is almost like a mission. But I don't want to put words in their mouth. I know they've done a lot of explaining on that, and that is, I respect how they've handled that, because I don't know how I would, because I still even sometimes have a hard time of getting out of the habit of being like, oh yeah, you come over to the sanctuary. And, but that's not what it is, you know. This is, if you want to go down to the most basic, this is the Plum Grove property. And then you have the 2 channel entities of Made by Megan and Flip Flop Farmer. But then above that, wherever we live, wherever we are, meaning Ellie and I and our animals, will always be called the Blessed Barnyard. I actually got that filed with the state for our business. I know it seemed like I'm going off track, but I see the circle. It will get there, but we will be called the Blessed Barnyard, essentially. And so that's just kind of how that goes. And so then I was like, okay, well, I really wanted this to be a surprise, but I don't want to upset anybody, and I certainly would not want to upset Lester or Jamie if they felt very strongly about those memorials staying where those animals lived and died. And like somebody said in the comments, in the memorial garden, there are no animals buried over there. There are no animals buried. I don't know who all has been buried. I know you've probably seen different different ways that animals' bodies have been honored and prepared and passing on. I can tell you right now, it's not something I love to talk about, but we had to bury 2 goats, and we buried them, and I went out to their burial site like a week after to try to grieve, and I found that they had been dug up via their bones. And so yeah, after that, Ellie and I were kind of like, yeah, burying is not very good for this property because it does attract predators, and I don't want like, one of the things I think about when an animal's passed is that in their final resting state, they were dug up and ate by a predator, you know? And so, you know, there's different methods. I'm not going to go into that. That's not what it's about. But because I know where Maggie was buried, but not in the memorial garden. What I found, yeah, burying's also bad because of the floods. Yeah. So very complicated subject there with all of that aspect, but what I found in the memorial garden was lots of little like tokens like this. Now this one's very unique. This is obviously from A&M, it's Okies, but I found like there's a glass one that has a picture of Meg on it, a sweet message. There's one stone that actually a friend of mine, really good friend of mine from the internet, she sent me when, oh gosh, I can't even remember who passed anymore. It was so long ago, and it was like a cluster of a few animals that have passed then. And on the thing she sent me, it said like, if love could have saved you, you would have been here forever. And so like I found a stone that like said that out there, and then I found something for like Patty and Roland. Who else? I don't know if I found one with Petunia's name on it. I found one with Nanny Goat's name on it, which that one hurt. If y'all remember Old Nanny Goat. Old Nanny Goat, man, it sucked. We had just moved in, and it was actually crazy. We were doing a work day, kind of being shown the ropes of kind of things. We had been here like a week or two, and we were just kind of doing things, and it was really starting to get hot. And you know, I remember because I handle more of the like health stuff. We both handle the animal health, but I'm the one that like, that's my like focus. And I remember Jamie had told me, you know, like, I just want you to know, like, these ones are the younger ones, because this was before it had, like, when we still had a lot of their animals and we were managing their animals at that property. This was like a few months before, 2 or 3 months before the flood, which ended up moving most of the animals. Or did that happen a year later? I don't know. But Nanny Goat was Tilly's only friend. Yes, you remember, Amber. I can't even get my dates straight anymore. I think it was last year that we had the flood. And so this was 2023 when we moved in. And I remember we were out there and Jamie was like, you know, these are the younger ones, you know, watch this one for this. This one's older. You know, I don't know how old she is, just kind of like be wary of that. This one doesn't do well with the heat. You know, all the standard things, like if you were telling people how to take care of an animal, the little like tags you would give them. And I remember when we talked about Old Nanny Goat, and she's like, she's been around a while, and you know, she doesn't do well with the summer heat. I don't know how much longer she has, so just keep an eye on her. And I remember we had that conversation, and then not even 2 days later, we were back outside working, and Lester and Jamie came over for a visit and just to help with some things. And I went outside into the barn, and I found Old Nanny Goat, and I found that she had passed. And so when I saw that one kind of hurt. But there's little statues for like, I'm trying to think. I cannot remember of who all's I cleaned yesterday. I know for a fact there's a Roland. I know I seen one for Patty. I feel like there was one for Petunia, Maggie, Pebble. Ooh, maybe not Pebbles, because Pebbles was over at Longhorn Lester's at that point, and Huck as well. But I saw like Betty, Bam Bam, a few for Bam Bam actually. And something about it, it brought a whole new level of purpose to me, which is why I want to talk about it and bring it up. But it also brought me some sadness, because I know that as I start going outside, I have to face this. As I'm sitting here at my table, I am going to be making some little clay memorial statues for my animals that have passed. That's the plan anyways. I don't know how great I am at doing that. So we'll see. But I've always kind of told people, you know, I've had that thing of I don't want little memorial things for my animals. I like to remember them in my own way. And now I feel like I'm regretting that, because when I went out there and I saw all those memorial statues, of course it made me sad knowing an animal had passed, but it made me so happy to know that even though those weren't my animals, that they were not only loved by their owners, but they were so loved by their internet family. And it kind of made one of my purposes in my channel a lot clearer. Y'all know I've been working my butt off on my channel for the past, like, I'd say 2.5 months now. I've been working my butt off ever since I got on my ADHD medication. My life has completely changed, and I'm so grateful for it. And so, you know, I have quite a few different purposes with my channel. You know, in one aspect, I want to teach. I want to teach people about things. In another aspect, I want to show people, like, the real life, like what this is really life. I'm not here to put on a production. I'm not here to show you the pretty. I'm showing you my version of farm life and how I handle it. I want to be an advocate for mental health. That's very important for me. But also, I want to bring joy to the internet, and I hope that I've done a good job of that thus far. I know that I have big emotions sometimes, and sometimes I get upset and all of that, and sometimes it translates onto my channel, but I think that that's all part of being very transparent and very real as well. And so that's why I choose to show those things and talk about them. But it unlocked an aspect that I hadn't thought too much about, and it shifted the focus back to the animals, because the focus, I've always said this in private to Ellie and just in general, the focus has always been the animals. If I couldn't video, I would still have all of these animals. Would things be different? Yes, but I would still have every single animal. Not a single animal I've gotten here has been for the videos or anything like that. The videos have unlocked my potential to get a lot of these animals, which I'm extremely grateful for, but it made me realize why I video them and why I continue to show them. Even, I'm gonna say it like this, stupid chicken videos, because some people absolutely hate when I show my birds. Absolutely hate it. And you know what? I don't care. If you don't like them, I don't care. Don't leave an ugly comment, but if you don't like them, just don't watch it. But after yesterday, and I had posted a bird video yesterday fitting on YouTube, there were so many people that were they're just so cute. I just love them so much. And I just realized, seeing all those memorial statues, I want to bring love to the animals too. I want to be a steward for the animals. I'm not just, my channel, I feel like I'm actively showing that I am the advocate for the animals, and that's why these things hurt so bad. And if they didn't, I think there would be something wrong. But everything I do is for those babies. I am obsessed with them. I eat, breathe, and I live them. I know tiny little nuances about them that y'all would probably go, oh my gosh, that's crazy that you know that those tiny little bitty things with them. I can look at them and tell immediately if they're off. And I'm not saying that to brag and be like, oh, I'm so good with my animals. Like no, it's more than just a job to me. It's beautiful, and I love being a steward to them, and I love being able to give animals a happy final destination, even if they didn't come from a horrible situation, even if they just had to be rehomed for financial means or anything like that. They still deserve the love. And I love being able to be that vessel for them and being able to be their advocate, because they can't speak like we can. And that's what I'm here for. And so when things like this happen, it's not, I just lost an animal. It's, I failed as their advocate. Something happened. Why did it have to happen like this? And I'm sitting here, and this is something little nuance I always noticed about Oki is one of his little, on his front foot, this one was more triangular than this one, and I always remembered looking at it and thought it was funny. But besides that, sorry, that was just totally distracted. And so it kind of reignited my purpose with the animals. Not that it's ever gone anywhere, but it was like a really good reminder. And I'm just so blessed that so many of you love our animals so deeply and so purely, to the point that when we feel the heartbreak of losing one, y'all feel it as well, you know, and you're invested in them. And it's so special that you're able to be so invested in them. I'm so glad that the internet, you know, allows us to do that, and that my babies aren't just feeling love from the people that they see every day. They're feeling love from people they've never met before, you know? And I've told people that I don't know if people know this, but it's funny if somebody sends, so I'm just gonna use Shaylin, or for example, she's not here, but like Shaylin sent me the other day, some syringes for goat medicine, and I didn't tell anybody we were running low on them, but we were. And so she sent me a massive pack of syringes. And so it's funny, every time I go and I use the syringes, I'll tell the goats, oh, Shaylin got you this syringe, or oh, Teresa sent you this, or oh, do you love these treats? So and so sent you this, you know. And so the animals know that you love them. And I think that is just so special. And I'm so glad that these animals have this village behind them, because not every animal gets that. And I just love how much love they get. And it makes me so happy. It genuinely makes me so happy, because I don't regard animals as animals. I treat them as if they're a human. We can say the worst of the worst. I don't like snakes, okay? I don't like snakes. I don't like wasps. But if it's not doing any harm, a little grass snake, you scare me, but go be on your way. You're a wasp, okay? I'm just going to get you out of the house and out where you need to go. A roach, well, I don't really love you. Leave the house. A spider, I'm not going to kill you. Like, I respect you, you know? I respect that you're more than just an animal, and God created you as well and gave you life, and you deserve every chance that a human deserves. And so I try to give them that and be their advocate. Y'all, Tilly, she's just a whole nother beast. Tilly drives me nuts. I love Tilly. Don't get me wrong. I love Tilly. I will scream that from the rooftops. I love Tilly. But Tilly these past couple of days has been driving me nuts. I don't know if any of you watched it or caught it in the video, but I filmed the ghost zombies going outside. And it was me just taking my chicks outside. And I had a time lapse going, and the whole first bit of me doing that time lapse, there are so many different spots that you didn't get to see where Tilly came and knocked over my tripod, and I had to pick it back up and refilm what I was doing. Or I'm going in there and I'm spreading the shavings, and you can see it if you can get the time lapse to slow down. I haven't figured that out yet. But Tilly literally comes, and as I'm bent over in the chicken coop, like spreading the shavings and all of that, there's a bug. What is that? Is it a June bug? I think it's a moth. Okay, we're safe. She came over and she started hitting me. And I'm like, Tilly, like, what are you doing? And I had to actually move her out of the garage and close the door because she was hitting me so hard. Today, I was overheated and I was just trying to get off the side-by-side, and Tilly comes up and she is licking the sweat off of my leg. And I'm like, Tilly, like, what are you doing? Like, you have, like, you have plenty of water. I just refilled all of these waters. You're licking the salt off of my leg? Who does that? And you know what? To that I say Tilly. And you know what? We're also, one of our newest problems we're having is Tilly versus Maisie. Tilly and Maisie do not like each other. Tilly actually, well, I don't think it's personal with Tilly. I really don't think it's personal. Tilly doesn't like really anybody except herself. And I guess me, kind of. I think she tolerates Ellie and I. But she really doesn't like any other animal other than herself. Okay, we'll put it that way. Is that my husband? My husband home? I hope that... Well, I hope that's him because there is somebody walking around with a flashlight in the front yard. I hope that's him. I know it's him. Well, actually, the dogs are barking. Hold on 1 second. Let's look out the window. Oh, it is him. Okay, we're safe, y'all. I thought Phoebe wasn't barking loud enough for it to be a stranger. Goodness gracious, where was I? You can tell my medicine is wore off. I am just scatterbrained. I knew there would be a chance of this when I did the live this late, that I would be so scatterbrained, but it's okay. It's real. It's my life. It's how it goes. Yeah, so Tilly, she just really doesn't like anybody that isn't herself, and she will hit anybody that comes in the general vicinity of her. And it's not to play. It's not to play. It's really not to play. It's because she doesn't like anybody. And so, like, if she's sitting on the porch, because that's where she sleeps, she'll sleep against the sliding glass door. If a cat comes up to the sliding glass door that's in the house, she will hit her horns on the sliding glass door, even though there's no way that she would be able to hit that cat, just because she really, really doesn't like that. But I think she has a thing for Maisie in a bad way. Anytime she sees Maisie, she will, I'm not gonna say she'll go chase her down, because Tilly certainly isn't gonna chase anybody down unless they've got food. But if Maisie gets close enough and Tilly feels like she can get to her, she will charge her and hit her. And then my favorite term that I use all the time is gate guarding. We have animals that gate guard everything. Tilly likes to gate guard the porch. And Maisie, you know, has a routine if she goes outside in the morning. It varies depending on how her day is going. My cats are in the laundry room and I hear them. I hear, and I don't see it, but I do see the shadows, and I think that somebody is actually swinging from my empty plastic hangers. It's always a good day. It's always something. It's always something. And they're getting loud now too, because it's getting late and this is their like prime time. But Tilly gate guards the porch, and so normally when Maisie goes outside, Tilly's not on the porch, so it's not a problem. But when it's time for Maisie to come inside, Maisie gets ready to come inside at about 8:30. It has to be like dark, and then Maisie's ready to come in. Tilly's already on the porch and asleep for the night, but when Tilly hears me call Maisie to come up the porch, she will attack Maisie until Maisie can get in the house on the porch and just push her up against the wall. So now every time Maisie comes up, I have to grab Tilly's collar, pull her away, and allow Maisie to come up. Maisie squeals the whole time because she's still scared that she's gonna get hit by Tilly. Hi, Lovey.
Hey.
I'm live.
You're live?
Yeah.
So late, buddy.
Well, I started feeling better after I napped and all of that, and so I figured I would just keep up with my life because I have a video going up tomorrow. I have to go to the grocery store tomorrow.
Busy day tomorrow, buddy.
I know it's a busy day tomorrow. How was football?
That was good, buddy.
How'd y'all do?
We did good.
Do you not want to say how y'all did on here?
I mean, it's a long story.
It's a long story. That's not good. That's not good. I get such a kick out of BB Peaches and picking bugs. Oh, yeah, it's their new thing is picking bugs off of the pigs. That and yesterday, no, the emus, and then not yesterday, but the day before, but I posted it yesterday. It's been notorious that, do you want me to cook you some fish? Are you hungry?
I'm a little bit hungry. It does sound
Okay, I'll wrap up the live and then I'll start.
Take your time, buddy. I'm not...
I've been going for like 40 minutes. I haven't seen you. I'd like to spend time with you. So, okay, I need to, my medicine has so wore off. Yeah, it's, no, not drag. It just, I cannot keep a straight thought to save my life. So, like 2 days ago, I went outside in the morning to do morning chores. I am just like, you know, just not happy being awake so early and so hot in the morning and doing chores. And then BB and Peaches, they never participate in water park time, which is when I spray everybody down. But all of a sudden, Peaches came over, and Ziggy wasn't even here. Peaches gets down like Ziggy does and let me spray her down. And then BB came over and like watched Peaches do it and did it too. And now they let me spray them down, and they let me spray them down every day. They like roll around in the water. I caught them in that the garden pool today. Like BB was fully laid down in it. Crazy, but so fun. I love them so much. They're so much fun. They're on a whole different level than chickens. You know, chickens pretty much mind their own business, I feel like, but the emus cannot mind their own business to save their lives. They have to be in your business. And I feel like Peaches is getting worse about that recently.
Oh, is she?
Of like having to be in your business. Normally she kind of stays away.
She's becoming more friendly.
She's becoming, yeah, they're really friendly, which is great. It'll be great when they're older, but sometimes when they chase you around when you're on the side-by-side, it's not the funnest. Have you seen the Denman puppies? I have. I'm not gonna lie. I really badly want one. I would love to take one off of Steph's hands, and then she wouldn't have to worry about one of them. But I cannot run that risk on the farm. You know, even though it's a puppy, it has some wild blood in it, and I can't run the risk of it not being trainable. And I can't risk any birds' lives for that. And that's why we unfortunately have to, I say unfortunately, but that's why we stick with the Pyrenees. And then can't take it. Huh?
I said, guess who I got?
Maisie?
No.
Bruni?
Oh, I can't pick her.
Hi, Mango.
People forget we got a new cat.
Well, I try not to tell people when we acquire new cats because people, they get ugly, and it's like, okay, well, I just took a cat off the street. You would have been praising me if I took a dog off the street, but it's true. It's literally true.
We just gotta teach people about the wonders of cats. They just don't get it.
I don't think they don't. I think they don't care. I think
exposed properly.
I think because they know that cats use the bathroom inside in a litter box, that they think that they must just be disgusting, and that
Go outside and use the potty.
most of them
They
do.
go outside and they dig their holes and they potty.
They do dig their holes.
Clean the dogs.
It's
just that we just gotta teach people about the beauties of cats.
Honestly, the cats are more well behaved than Phoebe alone. Not any of these cats in this house could make up the problems that Phoebe does. Just saying. But that's why I don't share the cats a lot, because, well, one, you share a video about cats and there are rude people that will be like, you only show cats. Like, Ellie made one cat video and somebody goes, you only show cats, and what else do they say?
I don't remember. I remember one time someone said something and I calculated and it had been 27 videos since I had made a cat video. 27 videos since he had made a cat video, and they're like, you only post about cats, and I was like, whatever. But I take cats off the road, and I help cats. You know, if somebody has to rehome a cat, like that's the cat we're talking about, Mango.
shown her. I've mentioned her in videos, but I haven't like said anything about it or showed her. And we actually got her from the same place that my mom got Chunk, her pig, from, and I never talked about it. It's, I laughed so hard when Stephanie said this is not daycare. Yeah, when I saw the post last night that 4 more puppies showed up, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, that is a hot mess express. I would love to take one off of our hands. I really would, but I cannot risk the safety of some of our animals. And that's the thing about cats that is really good, is all of our cats, they integrate. I don't have to worry about our cats, you know. They are pest control, rodent control, snake control, and they don't attack my chickens. And I hate to say it, but I cannot say the same thing about dogs. And that's nothing against dogs. It really isn't, because we have Rooster and Phoebe and we love them. And Lord only knows Phoebe was not exactly trained how she should have been, well, to put it that way. But still phenomenal at their job. So don't get me wrong, love dogs, but really they just don't suit our farm in the needs that we have. We do have the 2 protectors, you know. I've also thought about getting another protector, but not right now. Not right now. Because I would love to rescue a Pyrenees, I really would, but even that in and of itself can be dangerous, because you don't know what the Pyrenees got into on the road. And people will always tell you, you know, yeah, dogs can kill for play, but once a dog gets the taste of blood, like, that's not gonna go away, you know. And so that's the scary part of dogs for us. But y'all, we've been going for 45 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I know that this was probably sad, but I'm glad we talked about it. I feel a little bit better about it. It still kind of hurts, but I'm gonna start working on that stuff and maybe making some clay over here and spend time with the husband, because he's been gone for a little bit. What?
I said you're sweet, buddy.
I tried. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I know I missed earlier and it's a little late, so thank you for joining. I really love and appreciate you all so much, and I'll catch you next time with another one. Bye, friends.